Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to Telltale's Game of Thrones. This is Season 1, Episode 4. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. Ooh, what a nasty looking fella come to greet us. Do the dead frighten you? We'll see. Hopefully we'll get to see some of those guys in the future.
Previously on Game of Thrones.
My father is planning to make a move against your family. He knows all your weaknesses, all your plans. Because you have a traitor in your council. He's been sending a great deal of gold to someone in King's Landing.
We were told we'd be speaking to Lord Tyrion alone.
That's enough, Andros.
North Grove? That's just some shit story for little kids.
I've heard stories. Old tales of a secret forest within a forest. Your lord knew what he was talking about. I'm part of the free folk. People round here call wildlings.
My true name is Sarah Flowers.
You're a bastard?
It means a lot to be able to share that with someone. Someone I can trust.
And if it isn't Elena Glenmore, you're not still marrying into this wretched family.
Perhaps we'll remain allies after all.
It's a long journey to Marine on foot.
Marine? Shit.
What?
Unfinished business there. I don't want to talk about it.
If you presume to speak of my dragons, you best choose your words carefully.
Are you gonna be a good little forester? Learn your lesson? And stay down? You can be Lord, Roderick. So long as we all know who holds the reins here.
The Foresters need to keep their end of the bargain. Take the boy as your ward. Kill him if they give you any trouble.
I never did tell you about your father, did I? We bled him at first, like a pig.
Yeah, lots and lots of things to take in from the last episode. All the characters have at least reached stage 2 in their story arc, some leaving bodies behind. And the fact they found Brett would mean that, yep. Poor Garrett.
I knew you were a killer the day you arrived. Seems Britt found out too. Now they all see it. What sort of brother you really are.
It wasn't my fault. He attacked me and we fought
And you threw him clear off the wall. You told me what you did to get here. We both know you had blood on your hands. But now, you've killed one of your brothers. You'll lose your head for this, Tuttle.
Yeah, technically there's no ifs and
You'll
buts
be
about
disgraced, dishonored, and burned till there's nothing left of you.
This is mad! You're going to execute me!
Shut your mouth, Tuttle. The man is dead because of you. There's only one thing to be done with you now.
Hey, Frostfinger! I saw what
it. A
Garrett did to
chance
Britt
for
last night.
vindication? Come on, Finn. Do the
I
right
was
thing.
there. My relief was late, so I stayed behind. I
Yeah.
saw everything.
It's
Yeah.
true.
He was there.
Then go on. What did you see, boy?
He can pull my head out of the noose right now.
Garrett's telling the truth. Britt attacked him.
Yes.
Just like he said. Garrett had no choice but to fight back.
There isn't a man at the wall wouldn't sell his own mother for the right price.
Well,
You two are up to something. Some deal you worked out. Or he's defending you for some reason I can't fathom.
Finn's just being a good brother.
I think. Can't watch a man die unjustly.
I decide what justice is. Garrett killed a man of the watch. There's a price to be paid for that. Let's go.
well, at
I
least
knew it
now
was a
this
mistake
storyline's
to
getting
make
some
you a ranger.
momentum.
Crossfinger! What's to be done with him? We're heading to Crusted.
You'll have to find someone else for your expedition. Your man here still has a lot to answer for. Now out of the way, Snow.
Give us a moment.
Then kiss him quick and be done with it.
Garrett, you told me there wouldn't be any trouble with Britt. What happened? I thought you were smarter than that, Garrett. I thought you were going to be by my side at Craster's.
This isn't right. Britt's the murderer. Frostfinger has this all wrong.
What Britt did to your family. Anyone would want him dead.
But John...
Is there nothing to be done?
Aside from removing Tuttle's head from his shoulders? No.
But
you're about to go off and execute a nest full of traitors at Craster's. How is this any different?
Godspeed with you, Garrett. We're down a man, so keep your eyes open. Now let's move.
You can go begging to your gods all you want, boy. It's the axe has the final say.
Of course, we wouldn't have been with John, so. But yeah. At least Finn tried to save us, you know? I'd be interested though if the two had been, I don't know, bigger rivals, or if I had handled their relationship differently. Would you have sold me out? Probably. I don't know. It's certainly some big development for Garrett, and well, just with the show, the Wall storyline wasn't that great, but now it's got some potential. Still, Garrett is probably still the one that's most removed from the actual conflict, at least so far. It all depends on what the North Grove turns out to be. Here we go. Sons of Winter. Looks like we're in the Free Cities again. And this is where we left off. Asher was meeting with Danny, which is really, really interesting.
Do you know how many men have stood before me with false tales of my dragons? Desperate men, hoping for wealth, protection. Liars, every one of them. And I expect you are no different. You don't want to see what I do to liars.
Then maybe you should get to know me better. I'm not like those other men.
You sure look like the rest of them. Covered in dirt.
I didn't want her to... I didn't want him to fraternize with her like that.
Oh, shit.
A little more distant, Asher. Oh, okay.
Are you frightened? I thought you'd seen a dragon before. Your reaction says otherwise. Visceron.
He's much smaller than the other one.
Would you like to touch him? Go ahead. Unless you are afraid. Of course, a man who has really faced a dragon before may have reason to be afraid.
That is true.
Go on.
Not a good idea, Asher.
I think I'd rather not.
You're smarter than you seem.
I don't think he likes me.
Then you were wise to keep your distance. You claim you saw Drogon. Give me a reason to believe you. I told you I've heard this story before. I'm going to need more than that.
I have this.
Drogon, how did you get that? What have you done to him? If you've hurt him...
Hurt him?
He attacked us.
I don't think
Drogon wouldn't strike
an
without
option for
reason.
us.
You must have scared him. He is not some kind of thoughtless beast. He's only a child.
Oh, a child who can breathe fire on whoever he likes.
The men who were following us, the Lost Legion, they drew their swords and tried to fight him.
And Drogon defended himself.
So we somehow deserve to be burnt alive because your little baby was scared?
Your tongue is dangerously sharp, sellsword.
That it is.
Why did you
Most
come
definitely.
here? You offer me nothing but lies.
What?
To what end?
How did I
You
lie
want
to
gold?
you?
A title? My undying gratitude? What do you want from me, Asher Forrester?
My little brother was murdered in front of his family, and our youngest is still held against his will at our enemy's house.
What is it you expect me to do?
We need to hire an army.
An army?
If you could spare some of your sellswords.
Please, if...
I also came here looking for an army. But what I found were the cries of children and people suffering in chains while their masters profited from their misery. My sellswords will help me free the slaves of Marine. That is their mission. Your need is not greater than theirs. These are people who have suffered for years without end.
We both want the same thing here. To liberate Marine, to see you take the Iron Throne. That's what I want too.
If you really believe that, you'll understand why I cannot help you.
There must be something
Damn
I
it,
can
Danny.
do to convince you.
Stop it. Stop it, Asher. Chill.
As we speak, my men prepare to enter Marine. What they are about to do is much bigger than you or I. Bigger than one family back in Westeros. So, unless you think you can storm Marine and free all the slaves yourself, you have nothing more to offer me. Croft?
How about the location you eat dragon? I thought that was what this whole thing was about.
You may leave.
That's it.
Your Grace.
See them out.
Beskar knows the city better than anyone, Your Grace.
What the hell, Asher?
Is this true?
Yes. I lived in Marine for a time. On the eastern side of the city. Fucking bastard.
Come on. Come on, Beskar, you know me. Should know by now.
So you wish to accompany them? You'd help the Second Sons? Guide them into Marine?
I can't, Asher.
This could be our only chance.
Well, I should discuss
Is that
this with
what
her
you're
first.
saying?
You're really considering this?
Yeah.
They could prove valuable.
I can only speak for myself. I'll go alone.
She's the one who knows the city. She will accompany you, or you won't be going at all. I believe that's more than fair. You two
let her
will join
decide.
Croft and his men. Get them into the city, help them liberate Marine, and I
Or-
will see that you are rewarded.
Danny decides
But your
for them.
uncle stays here. If I find you've lied or put my men in danger,
I understand.
good. Croft will get you settled in. It's going to be a long night.
Oh dear. Don't be mad at me, Beskar. So, sorry about this interruption, but before we go on, I think we need some backstory on Daenerys. And in order to talk about Daenerys, we need to talk about the Targaryens, of course, her dynasty. They were a noble family from Valyria. And Valyria was a peninsula in Essos. I think it's pretty close to Westeros, geographically speaking. But Valyria was destroyed for some reason. It was called the Doom of Valyria. We don't know what happened there, but the people couldn't live there anymore. Well, we can kind of assume it was like some kind of cataclysmic event, like a volcano eruption or something. And nobody even goes there anymore. It's said that like the waters around the peninsula are poisoned, and the sky above it is red all the time, so nobody goes there because it's very dangerous apparently. So the Targaryens had to go somewhere. In fact, they were the only noble house that managed to escape, and their leader, named Aegon, who would of course later be called Aegon the Conqueror, because he wasn't your usual kind of refugee. He had dragons, which were native to Valyria, I think. He was riding his dragons with the intention to bend the whole continent to his will, and he did. The dragons burnt entire areas, entire cities to the ground. People would just submit out of fear of what's gonna happen if the dragons came to them, and that was quite easy for him to render the people to his will. There were some uprisings every now and then, but they were swiftly dealt with, and people learned their lesson pretty quickly. So Aegon was actually the first ever person who would unite all the banners in the end. Where there were previously 7 kingdoms, there was now 1. And so that of course was a big deal, a huge deal in fact, one of the biggest historical events in the world at the time. In fact, Aegon's landing is the beginning of their calculation of times. It's not like BCE, but BAL for people in Westeros. But there are no dragons anymore. No, they haven't existed for 150 years or so. The last of the dragons was killed in a civil war between Targaryens, where they were fighting for succession, basically, in a war that was called the Dance of the Dragons. And after that, only skeletal remains and seemingly petrified eggs remained. But even without the dragons, the Targaryens were the ruling house in Westeros for all this time. For better or worse, basically, some of the Targaryen traditions didn't really gel with the rest of the population. The Targaryens had female successors, which went against the tradition in Westeros, but on the other hand, they strongly believed in keeping the blood strong by intermarrying within the family. Aegon himself, when he came over to conquer Westeros, he was accompanied by both his sister wives who were riding the other 2 dragons he had, while he was of course sitting on the biggest and most powerful one. So as you know about incest, that can take their toll on the genetic side of things, and it took that toll on the Targaryens because some rulers were kind of benevolent people. The very last one was a different story. The Aerys II, also known as the Mad King. He is the one that where it all came crashing down. He was completely paranoid at the end of his reign. He wasn't called the Mad King for nothing, because he started, thinking there's people conspiring against him. Might have been schizophrenic, who knows. And he went completely off the rail when during a minor rebellion he was held captive for 6 months by some rebel lord. In addition to his paranoia, he began a strange fascination with fire and wildfire as well, which is fire that can't be put out. He was burning people alive just because he liked seeing them suffer. He even tortured and executed his mistress's family because he blamed her for the death of one of his children who only lived for a year. The final straw would be Aerys' execution of Rickard Stark and Brandon Stark, the father and brother of Eddard Stark. Remember him from the first season. Upon which many events occurred in rapid succession, which ended up with Robert's rebellion and the eventual death of Aerys by the hands of Jaime Lannister, member of the King's Guard. That's why it's called the Kingslayer. Robert Baratheon, because very distantly related. He has some Targaryen blood in him, but he's not a true Targaryen. He was crowned king, and Robert ordered the complete eradication of the Targaryen line. And this is where Daenerys comes in. She, of course, is Aerys' youngest daughter. Her big brother Rhaegar, who was partly responsible for what happened for the whole rebellion, he was killed during the war by Robert himself, it is said, and so only Daenerys and her younger brother Viserys were left alive, and even though Robert wanted to kill both of them just so they couldn't rise up again, they were shipped to Essos by, of course, still Targaryen loyalists, to other Targaryen loyalists on the other continent. And ever since Viserys wanted to take back what was taken from him, he used Daenerys as a bargaining chip. These are all the events from Game of Thrones Season 1. He tried to marry Daenerys off to the warlord Drogo, but found himself actually dead because he was just too assertive is the word. And Daenerys was a lot more intelligent. She saw the potential. She did fall in love with Drogo, but he was of course killed as well. And at her most desperate hour, Daenerys, former Khaleesi of the Dothraki stepfolk, was abandoned, but then miraculously her 3 petrified dragon eggs started hatching, and the rest is history, as they say. The dragons grew up, and now she actually has a chance of getting back her throne, with a little caveat though. So long story short, right now she's liberating the free cities. Very apt name to call them. Freeing all the slaves in there, many of whom would just join her armies. out of gratitude. But right now her dragons, even though, you know, them growing up is actually a good thing because she wants to eventually go back to Westeros, they're becoming a lot harder to handle. Drogon, especially the biggest one we've seen in the last episode, he started killing whole sheep farms to satiate his hunger, and that of course clashes with Dany's beliefs. She was always trying to protect the weak and innocent and not let any harm be done on them. So yeah, that was another long history lesson. I'm sorry about that. Let's finish this scene at least and maybe call it a day, huh?
Jew, I didn't want to go back to Marine. What the hell was that?
Look, I'm sorry it happened this way.
As long as you get your army, right?
Best get.
Pretty
Get
much.
your armor patched up in here. Extra bedrolls if you need them. Piss buckets in the corner where it's always fucking been.
Don't be mad, please.
Long time since we had a piss bucket.
I spent 2 years trying to get where I am now. Don't fuck this up for me, Asher. Nail! We got 2 more.